What's going on? Hear those whippoorwills calling out there. Hear them? Prancer, go lay down. Go on, Prancer, lay down. No. Go lay down. Go on. Go lay down. Yo, SJ, Ben, what's up? Cheers, y'all. You hear that whippoorwill? How's everybody doing tonight? Sorry that the camera's so dark. I'm outside on the back patio celebrating. My kitty cat made it through the bobcat fever, so I'm like super happy. He's made it home tonight. Kitty cat ER all week long. Hey, Susan. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, it's a whippoorwill. It goes. He's calling right now, just right over there. We got them all over here on the cannabis farm. We are live streaming from Oklahoma City, everybody. Cheers. I hope everyone's having a beautiful night. Oh, there went the light. Shane Prothero, hello. I'm using the motion sensor on the camera to give me my lighting, everybody. I do have the guitar out. I got all my favorites on here. I got SJ's Mix Adventure, Rebel Dog, Mr. Doughboy, Silver Giveaways is on here. And of course, Klesh is on here. Please excuse me. It's a beautiful, clear night. It was about 86 degrees here in Oklahoma City today. I thought the humidity was going to eat me alive, but I'm from Arkansas, so I'm used to Oklahoma and Arkansas humidity. Not a big deal. But man, it was hot, y'all. Come on, security light. Got her all in tune. I figured we'd crank out a few Oklahoma jams, smoke this derb, have some chats. Yeah, Shane, I'm by the middle of next month, I won't be in Arkansas anymore, no more. Probably, pretty sure. I'm almost a 99.9% sure. Today it's been a long, hard day, everybody. Grow season's starting to really pick up. Starting to get really intense. Everything's growing really big. Hey, Bodie. trying to get 360 some autoflowers outdoors, along with the other 120 so indoors and the nursery and the outdoor field. It's just it's a lot for old Yeti. This morning I was up at 4 a.m. I finally quit about an hour ago. I mean, I say I quit. I still got to lock down and close gates and all that crap. Mr. Doughboy, Cliff, Gigi, what's up, man? Gigi in the house, everybody. We got Gigi, we got Mr. Doughboy, we got SJ's Mixed Adventures. Man, we got a crowd full tonight. That's awesome, you guys. Thank you for coming in, man. I so appreciate everybody's positive feedback and comments, and I try to return the same thing. And it really does keeps me going, man. I thank you so much. Oh man, you know, keeping on my own creation here. Getting good and medicated before I flick us out some jams on the guitar. Oh man, I love all you guys and gals, my peoples, my community. My wife's hundreds of miles away, and I know you know how I'm feeling, Gigi. Sometimes you start talking to yourself, start having multiple personalities and stuff. It's good to be able to get online and talk to fellow tubers and know that you're not too insane. You are correct, Ben. Except after about a 24, 26-hour run of no sleep, um, working and working and working and working, then you go to sleep for 4 hours and you wake up and do another 12. After about 3 or 4 days of that, you start really seeing people that are not there. I think it kind of is just a form of the way the brain entertains itself. You know, you dial in a personality, you bounce ideas back and forth from each other, you come up with the creation, boom, you get the work done. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nuts. It's rough being away from your partner. My wife, she's my best friend. She's my partner. She's my liaison, my ally. She tells me when I'm fucking up. She tells me when I'm doing good. Keeps me in line. I'm so blessed to have Miss Rachel in my life, Mrs. Yeti in my life. I'd be a mess without her. Luke Duke Outdoors. Cheers. Carl W. Thanks for coming in, man. Man, I'm just keep on keeping on, you know. I'm really here to grow fucking shitloads of marijuana, man. That's really my ultimate goal. And I'm here to not prove anybody wrong or say my stuff's better or anything like that in no shape or form. What I'm here to do is to show people in our community what it really takes to be successful in this commercial industry and how stressful and how it can eat you alive. CK420 Earth Talk, welcome. Thanks for coming in, man. Cheers. It's not just growing being in this industry isn't for the faint-hearted, especially when you're fully vested in a partner like me. I have everything in my entire life on the line. So I mean, I have no other option. There is no being lazy. There is no time off. I'll get time off. Maybe next year we'll do an Alaskan trip or something. I'll be able to do something like that. You'll have to get me on a train though. I don't do airplanes. My channel isn't about being monetized either, everybody. I kind of made a decision a few months ago about it. You know, YouTube, the internet was created for knowledge and information. And I'm not saying that I'm correct all the time or what I do is the only way to do it or anything like that. What I am saying is that YouTube is a educational wonder, in my opinion. And I just want to be a tiny little part of that. YouTube for me is not about the super chats or the monies or anything like that. For me, it's really about helping each other, helping the communities, all the communities. I don't just hang out in the cannabis community. I'm all over the place, everybody. I get up in the morning, I go hang out in Thailand with Ginger Duke. I might jump in with Gigi, see what he's doing in the mid-morning. Sometimes Aussie's on, Aussie Grow Show's on. So I mean, I'm like all over the place. I'll be in a coin channel, and then I'll be in a Tinkerer's channel. I was just in Mr. Doughboy's channel not too long ago before I had to come out and finish my steak. So I mean, I'm all over the place, man. I'm all about supporting smart and intelligent and outspoken and outgoing people who are driven and spiritual, regardless of their spirituality, and they're positive. I mean, that's really what I'm after. We can all gain momentum from each other, and we can all still rely on each other without actually physically being next to each other. So that's really a big deal for me. We are a YouTube family. We are. I mean, we all generally know each other. If you're a real tuber, then you do know. You do know what I'm talking about. If you put, like I said last live stream, I put myself out there. What you see is what you get. You get Yeti, but you're really getting me, Chris the man. Yeti's just something my peoples gave me many years ago, and it's just, you know, sometimes it is hard to tell who's who sometimes, but really, you truly really are getting me, Chris Mavis. I have no problem. My life is out there, everybody. I'm not fucked up about it at all. If you watch my videos, that's what you're getting. You're getting me, what I am every day of the week, month, and year. If you watched me, or let's say you've watched SJ for quite a few years like I have, or Mr. Doughboy, or Gigi, we've all evolved. You can go back and see all of the social building that we've all evolved from doing this amazing thing called YouTube. Oh no, ooh, gross. The Bean Boozled are gross, SJ. I did that game with my kids. It was awful. And my youngest child actually liked the centipede flavored ones. That's probably why Remy likes them, is because they taste like boogers, centipedes, and bugs. Hilarious, SJ. SJ, you really should come to Oklahoma and see and hang out, and just Lake Eufaula is right up the road. I can get an arrangement to where you could come down to the lake property and hang out in your RV, man, for a few days and just chill. If you come this way, I got you a spot, girl. Or you could just stay here on the farm with me and grow cannabis for a few days. Dabs up, Gorilla. It's sweet, man. I don't have my rig with me. I got this one, though. Oh, man, dog food. Blech. I had a cousin who would eat whole sticks of butter when she was little. Kenneth, the famous Kentucky fam, welcome. Thanks for coming in. First time. Everybody say cheers and hello to Kenneth, this famous. Let me see if I can get that. Kenneth, the famous Kentucky fam, welcome. Yeah, I know you got some surgery coming up, SJ. I'll be praying for you. I'll put all my mojo that way when it's time. All right, let me rip out a jam real quick. Kind of open the show with a jam. Oh, there goes that whippoorwill again. You hear it? Probably can over all the ACs I got running in the mother room. Oh. Oh, I can play a little GG. Really good on the turntables. I, eventually, eventually, everybody, I will get the turntables here and my whole DJ setup, and I'm gonna fucking do a live show. And I don't give a fuck if I get a strike or not. We're gonna rip it up one night here soon. It's gonna be off the chart. I'm gonna set the lasers up, everything. So, guitar's just one of the many, many instruments that Yeti plays. Not bad for a partial blind guy and deaf in my right ear. And self-taught. Just saying. go. Little jam. Little jam there. Hey, Crazy Cannon in the house. Crazy Cannon is a major Patreon supporter. Everybody, please, if you feel the need, go to Patreon and support Yeti. Lots of great tiers. Lots of great prizes. Uh-oh, my tech dog is on the case. Man, thank you for coming in. I'm like international. Like, yo, I got Aussies in. I got all over the United States folks coming in. This is crazy, you guys. Blowing my mind. So much love, so much support. Super, super appreciated. So humbled by all of you amazing folks. Hell, SJ, I don't care anymore. Patreon can charge me whatever they want. I'm not in it for the money, girl. I'm just saying, one way to get some cool Yeti gear, like say one of Yeti's knives or a t-shirt or a slap, is to go over to Patreon and be a supporter. Now that's one thing Yeti don't permit is no drama. I loves y'all. How about a little? You guys like the blues? Oh, the ice cream man coming home. I'm your ice cream man. Catch me when I'm passing by. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm your ice cream man. We got Flavor Pops. Parker 420. I see you there, brother. Thank you for coming in, man. Awesome. Appreciate it so much. Just jamming and having a good time. A jam chat with Yeti. We can talk about herbs. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, man. Metal detecting. Well, I'm usually amped up and in the bedroom, but I thought tonight I would do a outdoor type of live stream, you know. It's nice out. Hey, PTP, man, welcome. We could do some music trivia. Why does a Yeti push over trees? To grow more trees. To grow bigger trees. I'm not sure. Why, Hook? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, brother. Yeah, man, we got to put a bunch more of the. I think those evergreens I'm growing put off a lot more oxygen, maybe. Give you guys a little Indian medicine from the great state of Oklahoma. Not GG, man. Love you, brother. Sleep well. Woo! Oh man, oh man. Oh man, my wrists. I held the weed eater today for about 6 hours. My wrists are shot already. I don't know how them pro guys do it. Man, thank you guys. I appreciate that. I ain't much of nothing, but I sure try. I do apologize for all of the texts and harmonicas and things going off. I guess I could silence my notifications. There we go. I'm a busy, important person. Everybody's texting, you know. Oh. Get the blood back in my hands. A swig of tea. Cheers, everybody. Iced tea. Yeti's favorite. Sweet, very sweet. No, man, I don't do any covers. I'm self-taught. Everything that you just heard is off the top of my head. probably, I mean, if you tune into the live streams, you'll probably get to hear them again. But I don't do any covers, man. I'm sorry. I will do covers in my own version. Like just earlier, you heard a little bit of Horse with No Name in there, and there was a little bit, a tiny slash of Metallica that came in there, just a tiny piece. So I mean, I'm sorry, man. I know all kinds of covers, but I get the Free Bird and the Sweet Home Alabama all the time. Have a good night, Crazy Cannon. Uh, El Rocho. Rock on. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Come on, security light. Cow. yeah. Ooh. Perfectly imperfected. Welcome. You know, you guys are doing all these dabs. You make me want to go get my dab rig. Cough my head off. Northwest Frostbite Farms dabs up, brother. There's my brother in the house right there, man. We've got a bunch of collabing going on. Yeah, give me just a minute. I'll go grab that dab rig, y'all. Let me go get my shiznizzle. All my garb. Bust out some goodies. Prancer. Sorry about that, y'all. My guard dog just was guarding the tripod, I guess. Just knocked over the camera. Yeah, no, we'll get us a dab here. I got all my dabbing equipment. Let me get out my stuff. Oh, I'm gonna get out some of the sauce I made last week. Put my dab case down. Probably a big old load on here already. Yet he's got old lungs or lungs that have been blasted a whole bunch. I bet my lungs look like a butane blaster after it's been used. Just toast, you know. Nah, probably not. Mary Jane's good for you. I had a friend a long time ago. His name's Stash. His actual name is Stash. Stash, if you're watching, peace, brother. We'd sit around in high school and we'd get real ripped in his RV. He lived in an RV outside his mama's house. He's one of them guys, you know, that had the freedom to be on his own at a young age. And we were in there toking on some, you know, some old brickweed. And it was real good. It wasn't bad brickweed. It was good brickweed. And we're caught in there coughing up a storm, you know, on some of the good brown. So we used to call it some of that good brown. And oh yeah, he takes him a big old rip off the fucking pipe. All of a sudden I get this large ball of mucus in my throat. And I go outside and I throw up, you know. Basically it's, you know, it's not. And I'd always known as a kid, because I've been smoking since I was about 7 years old. Hippie kids, parents don't really have no filters, so cannabis was a medicine where I come from in the mountains. We used it for everything. Anywho, I come back in there and old Stash looks over at me and he says, "Man, Yeti, the hell, dude?" He says, "Every time you come over here, man, you get all stoned and start snotting and sneezing and spitting and coughing, and sometimes you get sick." And he said, "What the hell's going on?" And I said, "Well, Stash, that cannabis is an expectorant. So if you got a real bad allergy infection, man, there ain't nothing make your nose run more than blowing a bunch of pot smoke up that nose." It'll make you run, buddy. And if you don't spit out that mucus, it goes into your stomach, which then makes you ill. Anyways, I'm much older now. I've learned not to be such a pig when it comes to smoking the reefer. So, but as a young man, you learn those experiences, you know. It's pretty funny. I got a ton of stories like that. I ought to do a couple of segments just on old Taterbug. Taterbug was my mentor. He was like the dad that you always wanted. Well, kind of the dad that I wanted. Cheers. Lordy. Three Bears OG by Mephisto Seeds makes fire live rosin. Old Taterbug, man, one winter we got stoved up on the mountain. I used to work with old Taterbug. He was an excavator. Taterbug looked like Gandalf the Grey, and he was as tall as Gandalf the Grey. And he said, back then everybody called me Bubba. He said, Bubba, we're going to go out back and we're going to dig us a big hole. And I said, all right, Taterbug, what was the bathhouse need a new hole, the outhouse is what we call it. Bathhouse, outhouse. And he says, no. He said, next season we're going to grow the biggest pot plant you ever seen. And I said, well, Taterbug, I've known you since I was 2 years old. I don't know if we can do that. I've seen you grow some big old pot plants, tree trunks. He said, no, I'm going to show you how to do it, Yeti. I'm going to show you how to do it, Bubba. That's how we're going to do it. And I said, all right, Taterbug. So we spent the better part of 2 or 3 days digging this big old cone-shaped hole down to the ground about 6 foot deep, probably about 5 foot around. And he said, all right, Yeti, every time you get up in the morning, you cook me breakfast before work, or we get dinner scraps done, you throw them in that hole. He said, don't put no oil or fat in there, and don't put no meat. Just vegetable scraps, eggshells, leftover tea bags, coffee grounds, things like that. I said, yes, sir. So we did. We spent all winter making breakfasts and lunches and dinners and working our butts off on the bulldozers and filled that hole in. Well, we went down the horse barn. We filled that whole hole in with horse poop. Nothing but horse poop. No dirt, no mix, no rock cubes, no rock wool, none of that shit. Just fucking straight up table scraps for all winter and fucking horse poop. And he said, I got these seeds, these special seeds, Chris. I've been saving them for a long time. He said, you remember when you was a little boy and I used to grow that super skunk? And I said, yes, sir, I do. Smell it all the way up the valley for 3 miles, Taterbug. He said, we're going to try to plant some of that right there. I said, oh man, here we go. So springtime come around, old Taterbug, he made me get some pretty decent loose soil. We started some seeds, and he grew probably 10 of those seedlings up. And out of the 10, he was such a good grower that he could look at one. He could look at a baby and tell if it was going to be a boy or girl. He was that wise. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting close. The thing about cannabis is it surprises you, so you never know. And I just don't think Taterbug ever had the heart to tell me that, because he was such a wizard in my eyes. But he took that big giant phenotype, what we call a phenotype, the best of the best out of the group, and he put it in that big hole we dug. Oh, I forgot to mention, we went and caught a bunch of fish, and we ate a bunch of fish that night, and we threw all the fish down in the bottom of that hole, and then we filled it with manure. Taterbug, we nursed that plant. And really, we didn't really nurse it. We just kept a close eye on it. And we watered the bejesus out of it, because it takes a lot of water to water a 5 foot wide by 5 foot deep hole, see? And come October, that sumbitch sat by an oak tree that was probably 2 foot across in the middle. And when that thing was finished off, it was an 8-inch trunk, and that son of a bitch was probably 20 foot tall, and you couldn't tell that it was a pot plant. It was so big. It looked like a giant cedar tree, man. I still, to this day, because we was poor hippies, and we didn't even have carburetor scales back then, we did the old baggy off the tongue trick. I still have no idea how much weight was on that plant, but I can promise you it was well over 10 pounds of dry cannabis. Wasn't the best cannabis because it was so damn big, but it was a bunch. We smoked all summer, man. Old Taterbug, man. He was quite the wizard. I miss him. Damn cancer got him. I'll see him again one day, though. I hope. Oh, man. It literally tastes like grapes, y'all. I'm not kidding. If you've ever smoked opium, that's what it tastes like. Whew. We was poor hippies. We probably sold most of it perfectly imperfected. Thank you, SJ. They are stories, but they're true stories. One time, me and Old Taterbug, we got real drunk. Old Taterbug was having a real bad week. And we had parted ways earlier that week. He'd left on horseback, and I didn't know where he'd went. He'd go on a walkabout. He'd go for 2 or 3 days. And what he'd do is he'd ride to the big town, what we call big town, Fayetteville, Arkansas. He'd ride the railroad tracks on his horse, and he'd go up there to the liquor store, and he'd get him about 6 cases of beer. And he'd strap them over the saddles of that horse, and he'd ride the railroad tracks back to the little town I was from, down south, farther south, and he'd slam him about 2 cases of them beer. He'd be so hammered. Anyways, like I said, he was having a bad night, and a fellow officer that I knew in town had said he'd been seeing Taterbug that evening rolling around on his horse with shiny packages on the back of them saddles. He didn't think too much about it because Old Taterbug was a myth and legend in town, and he never ever meant no harm to nobody, I don't believe, unless he had to defend himself or something to that effect. And I get up the next morning and go down to the coffee shop to get up and go meet him for work. And he's not there. Well, there sits another friend of mine in there having a bacon and eggs. And he says, "Yeti, come here." And I walked over and said, "Yes, Mr. Doyle. What can I do for you, sir?" Man, I'm toasted, Northwest. I'm toasted, Chad. Toasted. I'm going to do a few more dabs, though. I'm being greedy tonight. And Mr. Doyle pulls me aside kind of over there in the corner, and he says, "Man, Yeti, I got a call from the sheriff last night." I'm like, "Oh, no. What's wrong?" He says, "Well, Taterbug tried to kill himself." And I said, "Do what?" And he said, "They caught him down there at the railroad tracks about, I don't know, 10:30 last night, trying to run his horse into the railroad track, into the train." And I said, "You're kidding me." Because Taterbug not one to be like that at all. He'd get mad and he'd have a bad depression or something for a couple of days, but he'd never take his own life. Never. Not even high or drunk. And by high, I mean high on drugs, not cannabis or having a beer. I mean high. Taterbug loved to party, man. Like I said, he traveled with the Grateful Dead for years. He loved to get out there. Anyways, I said, "Well, where's he at?" And he says, "I took him home." He said, "You need to go to the feed store and get the horse and take it back to the house." So I parked my truck at the feed store, and I hopped on that horse and rode it down about 3 miles to his house. Rode up there in the yard, and there he was sitting there with his ripped up, cut off shorts and his big old giant burly cowboy hat and beard down to his belly button, just as gray as Christmas. Got this squint in his eye and this kind of red, rosy cheeks, you know. He looks at me and says, "Yeti, the hell are you doing here with my horse?" I said, "Well, what were you doing last night, Taterbug?" He says, "Hell, I went to town. You know that. I got me a bunch of beer. I don't remember much getting past the Greenland sign coming into Forktown." And I said, "Well, Sheriff Moore, Chief Moore, he said you had to come get you and tie the horse up, bring you home. Said you couldn't even hardly talk. Said he's trying to run Sally into the train. His horse's name was Sally. You can actually go back quite a few years and watch me plow a field with Sally, back when Taterbug was still alive. And he says, "I did what?" And he kind of sat there for a minute with these kind of a crazed look in his eye. And he said, "Oh, that's right." He said, "I was trying to see if that stupid fucking horse would run itself into that train." I said, "Taterbug, why were you trying to do that?" He said, "Because she's a good horse, Yeti. She wouldn't do it. She just kept turning around and backing up, turning around and backing up." Anyways, from that day on, everybody, I kept my both eyes on Taterbug, make sure that he was okay. It wasn't that he was trying to hurt himself. He was just kind of having his wires was crossed a little bit, you know. We got him straightened out, though. He even found the Lord. Quit drinking, quit doing all drugs. He got sober for about 10 years. Actually, I did probably 4 or 5 of those years of AA with him, just to be there with him to support him. He told me one time, Taterbug told me one time, his mama was so mean. This is back in the 1930s and 40s. His mama was so mean that he would hide. He would crawl down into the well and hide from her. Cheers, CK420. I hear you, brother. It's a tough one. I see a lot of good fights and a lot of good fights that, you know. Oh, Taterbug was one of a kind. They broke the mold when they made him. I'm so blessed to have had that man in my life. We have the town that I'm from, born in. There's a river, I say creek, it's a river, runs through the town, the West Fork of the White River. And the water, where the sharp corner would be, what we call the wreck hole, it's actually where a train wrecked off into the creek, into the river. Sorry, I keep calling it a creek. It's a river. And hence it got the name, the wreck hole. And Taterbug, he'd drive down there on the back side of that thing with a big old huge track hoe. Every year, there'd be 150 kids down there swimming. And he'd dig that swimming hole out the size of a football field, so we'd all have 20-foot water to dive off into. He was one of those kind of guys. We went and bought 4 or 5 horse buggies and decked them out like Red Ryder BB guns. Decked them out red and white, with the pimp stripes and white. Decked out all the horses, and we would go down every year to what we had a little festival in our town. And we would give the kids free, horse and buggy rides. Man, we had so much fun. He's still with me every day. He actually is. I got a vial of him in there, so. I carry Taterbug everywhere with me. He's in a little vial in there, a little jar of Taterbug. Unfortunately, I've been told that one of my curses is an elephant memory, because along with all the good, I remember all the bad in detail as well. So just one of those things. It's like a catch-22, I guess. Well, man, everybody, I think I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go in the house here and call my wife. She's probably wanting to talk to me on the FaceTime. And I appreciate and enjoy all of you being in here, man. It's so much fun. We'll tell more stories here next week and play some more jams and talk some more grow. Don't forget your worm castings. Let's see. Plant lots of marigolds. Go catch a fish. And you can let it go if you want to. Yeti doesn't, but you can let it go if you want to. Take somebody else fishing. Do something good for somebody else. A stranger, somebody you love, somebody you don't love. If you speak it into the air, it can happen. Watch what you say sometimes. Sometimes it makes you a better person to think about what you say before you say it. And always remember the 7 P's of life, everybody. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Peace, be nice, be kind, behave, and be safe, everybody. Yeti loves you. Huge shout out to all of you. Have a great night, chat. Peace.